Hi, it's Paul from the Afternoon Zone. Well, it's true. The Arkells and K.Flay have teamed up for a new song called You Can Get It. I had a chance to talk to Max from the Arkells and Christine, who is K.Flay, about the new song, about teaming up and collaborating and epic team-ups. And they're so thoughtful. They know that this has been just a really tough year on everybody, including us radio hosts. And so they decided to do me a big favor and do all the work. They conduct the interview. They interview me. And that's what they did, and here it is.
All right, so Paul, this is our first one, our first ever interview together. So we're very excited to be sharing this with you.
Wow. Well, thank you for having me, because as I hear you want to take control off the hop and have this thing, it's all yours.
Exactly. Okay, so welcome to the Zone. It's your co-hosts, Christine and Max. Max from Arkells, Christine, also known as K.Flay. And we're going to be talking. We're switching things up. We're going to be talking to Paul. And we want to ask you a couple questions. I know we're here to promote our song, but we want to ask you, because we're a bit of a duo. We want to get right into it. Who is your favorite duo of all time?
Oh my gosh, what a question. My favorite duo of all time.
We're making you work, all right? This isn't your normal afternoon show.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Spaghetti and meatballs. Easy. Okay, it's why does it go so well together? Long strings and then little ball. It shouldn't make sense, but it works.
Okay, this is making me think, Paul. So last night I was on a call with one of my best friends, and she was making what she called lasagna soup. Okay. Now you saying spaghetti and meatballs is making me think, my mind's going to lasagna soup. And so now I'd like to talk to the group about, what do we think about lasagna soup? Because I became extremely distressed upon hearing this information.
Yeah. Can you describe it a little bit? What is lasagna soup?
I can describe it. This also is a gluten-free, dairy-free lasagna soup. So I said to her, Is this just tomato soup? Like, what is really happening?
Like, what's the difference?
But she said there's like gluten-free noodles, ground beef, tomatoes, vegetables. Yeah, what's your hot take on this soup?
Oh gosh, I know I should be mad about it, but that's the thing with food, is that once it gets in your mouth, it's just a flavor country anyways, right? So, but texture is important too, though. That's really not true. So I say that if it's good for her, then good for her.
So, Paul, do you normally host this show by yourself, or have you had co-anchors? Because we were thinking about the idea of duos and partnerships. Yeah. And so a little bit of background with Arkells and K.Flay is that we came to know each other kind of through our manager, Ashley. She also works with Lights, and Christine, K.Flay, has toured with Lights in the past. And we probably met 5 years ago now. And when you were coming through Toronto, we'd hang out, or in Hamilton, we'd hang out. Who has been your best partner in crime? And that could be like a friend, that could be a colleague. Who stands out? A roommate?
So this is my usual co-host. She's usually here with me. She's filling in on our morning show this week, so she couldn't be here, unfortunately. But Jenny West, we are very much like a Batman and Robin, except like she's more of the Batman, and so it's like a size difference thing. Like she's very small and I'm very big. So picture Adam West and Burt Ward, but just reverse costumes. It's like that, and teamwork is a lot, as maybe you're finding out now in this project, in this process. It's totally different minds from totally different places coming together and figuring out how to work together. And that's not the easiest thing in the world, is it?
No. I mean, Christine, when we asked you to come by the studio when we were working in LA, one of the producers of the song is a mutual friend, Tom Payton. But you know Tom from the Bay. Can you tell me a little bit about your history with Tom?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, I think just to zoom out even further, I think this collaboration, which is the case for many collaborations, it's like this weird narrative being woven by like a force above us. There's all these like different threads to it. So Tom Payton, who worked on this song, is an old school buddy of mine from the Bay. He used to play drums in a band called Wallpaper. The lead singer, or the person who conceived of Wallpaper and was Wallpaper, is now a very successful record producer named Ricky Reed, who took me on my first tour.
And Ricky is the mastermind sort of behind Lizzo, and he did Leon Bridges' album.
Yes.
He's
Wow.
amazing.
So Ricky's like a genius. He's an old school Bay Area dude. He's the reason I met my touring guitarist and one of my best friends, Josh Lippy. So there's all this cross pollination. I feel like, you mentioned touring with Lights and that being our connection. I feel like one of the best things about the music industry on the creative and touring side is this like cross pollination and actually developing friendships. I don't know, Paul, do you feel like you get some of that on the radio side of things?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. It's like to mention my co-host, Jenny. Yeah. She was in as an intern at first and then traveled away. And then when there was like, oh, we need to bring someone back, we just thought of her, but through friendships and working together in those ways. And that's what's really nice too about those collaborations. I don't know if you two have found this, but it's often, if it's working and it's gelling, greater than the sum of its parts.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. And that's the fun thing about trying new experiences out, is that sometimes you know, it doesn't quite click. And then other times you're like, oh, I'm so glad that I found this person who will be in my life forever now. Like we're going to be releasing a music video for this song. And there's a really creative dude up here named Mark Myers, who's kind of become one of our go-to guys because it's just so much fun to work with him. Christine, who are other people that stick out to you in your mind that you just like, oh, I just get high just thinking about working with them because it's so much fun?
Oh my gosh. Well, I have a couple on the production writing side, collaborators who I've been working with now. I mean, now that I'm like, oh my God, I'm a professional musician. Okay. Anyways, now that I have like a professional music career, I've established, like, I've worked with them across multiple albums and projects, and I've seen them like get married, have a kid, so we've, and I'm thinking specifically of a guy named JT Daly and Tommy English, who are also my good friends. But I think what's so cool, and this is like a bigger conversation about collaboration, but you guys touched on it, is what I love about collaborating, right? Is like being a part of this song with Max and the rest of the Arkells is like, I did things differently than I would do on a K.Flay record. And like me being a part of this record influences how Arkells are approaching it. And so we each get out of our comfort zone and we each get challenged, but we also feel safe because we're with a friend. So it's like, it allows you to get outside of your own head and outside of this like echo chamber that we're all stuck in. And I think that to me is the coolest part of a collaboration, especially when you trust somebody, because you're like, is it safe to like, go swim in this pool? But like my buddy's in the pool. So like, I'm going to jump in.
Well, and on that tip, a little bit of context, we were down in LA working on the record, and I think it was like the last day or second last day, we had kind of been working on the track itself, and we've been texting, do you want to come by? And like, this is kind of where we're at with the song. And we were it was funny because it was about a year ago when we actually recorded the song, Paul. Mm-hmm. And at the time it felt like, oh, we've been through so much, we're in America. We were thinking about like the chaos that Donald Trump has brought to everybody. And we're thinking like, oh, it's like, what do we want out of life? What could, it feels like everything's hard right now. What do we want to chase after? And then little did we know that like a month later, we'd be locked inside the house. So the song feels even more relevant now than ever. Paul, what is something you want? What's like on your to-do list for when you can go out and travel and do normal things?
Well, I've got a couple of countries. In opposite directions. I think they're exact opposite length of flight as well, but I want to go to Italy and I want to go to New Zealand.
Are you Italian?
Partially, about half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But so that's number one. And then just to, drive across the country and see every single friend I have and all my grandparents.
Where are you from?
Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
You're from Sault Ste. Marie. Oh
Yes,
my goodness,
yeah.
this is so. Our manager Ashley, who's a friend of Christine's, she is from Sault Ste. Marie. Do you know Ashley Potvin? Do you know the
No,
name
I
Potvin?
moved out of there very, very young. But anyways,
Okay,
that's
her
from my
dad's a
family.
doctor in town, so sometimes people
Oh,
know. Yeah. The
huh,
Potvin,
okay.
like it looks like Felix Potvin, but slightly different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
How are we doing for time? This is new for us. We're kind of winging it here.
Are we going long or short?
You're a little long, but that's okay.
Okay.
Timing
You
is
have
the
like
hardest
one.
thing.
You have like 1 minute left.
Okay. No, let's wrap this up then.
Yeah.
So, Christine, how do you want to wrap this up?
Okay, I want to wrap this up with so the big thing about this song is that we drop an F-bomb in the chorus, which, I love to swear. I love dropping F-bombs. The question is, in your house, Paul, growing up,
Yeah.
what was the policy on swearing? How has it influenced you today? And what's your stance? Let us know in under 60 seconds.
Great question. Not allowed.
Ooh.
No swears. Absolutely no swears. Like, shut up was a swear word. in my
Oh,
house.
wow. Mhm.
So, in many ways, it prepared me very well to work in commercial radio
There
because
you go.
no swears. But I agree with you that a well-placed swear, whether it's in a song or a negotiation or a conversation,
Mm.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you for letting us take over the airwaves here. And
Wow.
this is the
Thanks
You
for
Can Get
having
It
me.
radio show. So thank you for being our first guest.
Oh, what a pleasure, really. And can't wait to hear the song, you guys.
Okay. Thanks so much.
The Zone at 91.3.